guys, I am Sarah Ellis here with Jessie James Beads on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining me. I've got a really fun project today. We're going to do some earrings that are really simple, some simple wire wrapping. I'm going to show you a little component that you can use in these earrings, but you can use elsewhere in your jewelry designs. It's one of the first little doodads that I ever learned how to make with wire, and I found that it can be used in a lot of different ways, so I'm going to show that to you guys in hopes that you kind of learn how to incorporate that in things other than just these earrings. This is a beginner friendly project, pretty easy wire wrapping, not a whole lot to it. We're going to start with the smaller components and do all those first and then kind of put the earring together. So I'm going to go slow, step by step, and show you everything. But before we get to the project, I do have some housekeeping. The Magical Mystery Box sign up deadline. That's a mouthful. Can you say that real fast 5 times? Magical Mystery Box sign up deadline is approaching. You guys need to sign up for that by the 7th to get the April box. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you're wanting that April box, you've got a couple more days to go. There's also a $10 off coupon for new subscribers, so check your inbox for that coupon that is coming from Jessie James Beads. If you are ready to sign up, you get that $10 off, which is a nice little discount to get you going. And the Magical Mystery Boxes are pretty awesome, so if you haven't jumped on that yet, you definitely take advantage of that because they are great. All right, something else. I've got all my notes here in front of me, trying to make sure I don't leave anything out here. I want you guys to let me know what kind of projects that you want to see. Last week we did easy wire wrapping. We're going to do some more easy wire wrapping today. That's kind of going to be where we're going. I do want to try to do some stringing projects and some other things, but I want to make you guys happy. So you let me know what it is that you guys want to see, bounce some ideas off me, and, you know, get me headed in the right direction so that I can, you know, give you guys what you want. I think that's it before we get started with the project. Nope, there's one more thing. Beads. We're going to talk about the beads before I actually get down here to the map, because you can buy these beads, of course, on Jessie James' website. Today I'm using the Bohemian Spring bead strand. Mine's a little short because I've already taken some of the beads off of this for the project. I've already made one of the earrings, so we're just going to make one. So I had to take some of the beads off of this. So obviously your strand is going to be a little bit longer than this one, but this is what we're using, and you'll see it again here in just a second. But I just wanted to show you again, this is the Bohemian bead strand. Last week I used the Easter bonnet design elements, which comes in the little packages. You guys know because you love Jessie James Beads, of course. And then next week I'm going to be using the Easter bonnet strand, which is this one right here, which is another beautiful one. All of these Easter themed. Now you can buy these individually, of course, on the Jessie James website, or you can buy the, what is it called here? The Spring Has Sprung bead bundle. Everything is such a mouthful today. And it comes in this awesome little basket, and it comes with 3 felted, I'll show you guys, carrots that I kind of showed you last time. These are hand felted. Are they not adorable? Plus it comes full of the beads, which is great. So like I said, you can buy them individually, or you can buy this awesome little bundle that's got everything in it. So keep that in mind as we are moving along. So let's get to the project. I'll show you these beads up close a little bit more. I'm gonna get this video pulled up as I'm going so I can see your comments as well. And I'll let the camera get adjusted here. All right. Now keep in mind, everybody, that there is a little bit of a delay. So if I do not see your comment, I apologize. By the time I look up, 10 seconds has already passed. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to try my best here to keep up with everything. But let's get on with the project, because that's what you guys are here to see. You're not ready to, or you're not here to talk to me. Y'all ready? Waiting on my camera. Are we good? Thank you guys for being patient. This is all new to all of us. Are we ready? All right, awesome. So as you guys can see, this is what the project for today is going to be. We're going to make this really cool earring. Got some of the beads from this strand. Here, let me bring the strand in, and I'll kind of move this out of the way a little bit. So here is the strand that has these really cool beads on it. the Bohemian Spring Mix. I really, really love this. And I got to tell you, this is probably my favorite part of this whole strand is this rose tassel down at the bottom. I really wish that I had had 2 of those or several of those because I could do a million things with those. But I've got, we're using some of these awesome white beads, and then 2 of the smaller beads that are on this strand, and then this little tassel that actually came from the Easter Bonnet Design Elements mix from last week. I just wanted to add an extra little something to this. So let me move this out of the way and we will get started. Like I said, we're going to start with the smaller components of this earring. So we're going to start with the little doodad here in the middle that I was talking about that you guys can use in so many different ways. Then we're going to make the little dangles before we actually make the round part of the earring, okay? And then we're just going to build everything up. And there is a reason for that, so just hold tight as we go. Now, let's see. We are going to use some, this is 20 gauge wire. I'm using 20 gauge gold color wire for this. You are really only going to need about 3 inches for the little, what should we call this guy? He's just a little connector. I keep saying doodad. That is so not an official term. Don't call it a doodad. That's not what it is. But it sort of looks like a little angel or maybe a little, a clover or what have you.
Close up of the doodad. Close
up of the doodad. Let's see here. Now this is hard to do because I can't tell. You guys tell me where to go. How's that? Are we good? Okay, now you'll notice that on this guy there are 3 circles that are all the same size, and then one of the circles is a little bit larger. You can make them all 4 the same size if you want to. I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. But again, we're using 20 gauge gold color wire. I am using German style wire just because that's always my preference. You certainly can do this with artistic wire if you want to. You may need to work harden it after you create this little piece. And I am actually going to harden this up a little bit with my nylon jaw pliers afterwards. I'll show you that here in just a second. Now the tool that we're going to use for this is the small bell making pliers. These are obviously this is a Beadalon tool, but you can buy these on the Jessie James website as well. And if you were to ask me what my favorite tool of all time would be, I would have to say bell making pliers. Doesn't matter what size they are, I could care less, but I love them. And I have several pairs of these, and I use them for absolutely everything. So that's what we're going to be using to make our little doodad. I'm going to move this little guy out of the way. You guys come up with an official name for that thing because I can't keep calling it a doodad. All right, now I've cut my section of wire. This is only about, like I said, 3 inches. Anything less than 3 inches, you're gonna run out of wire. I know this guy looks tiny, but it really does take every bit of those 3 inches of wire. So try to give yourself enough to hold on to with your fingers, otherwise you're really gonna struggle. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is actually we're going to come in with our flush cutter, and I'm going to trim off because I did not make a nice flush cut. Now, if you guys watched last week, I told you any of the wire that you want to keep when you're using a flush cutter, you want it on the flush side of your tool. Okay, so that's important here, and it's also going to be important here in just a few minutes with the other piece that we make. So just want to be sure that I have a nice smooth end of my wire. And I'm going to take the wire, I'm going to grab it between the jaws of my bell making pliers. And we're going to use the smaller mandrel of the pliers, okay? And we're just going to make a simple loop, and I will show that to you here, okay? They may need to tell me, we good? Doot. They're all giving me hand motions here, trying to figure out where to go. All right, so I've just made a little P shape here. Now, the next step is we're gonna grab the wire right next to that, okay? I hope that's a decent shot of that. You can see that little P shape is right up against the pliers, okay? And we're just gonna wrap around again. And you may need to adjust your pliers a little bit, okay? So now this is what we've gotten. I wrapped a little bit too, I went too far with my tail. I'll bring my tail back a little bit. All right, so now, whoops, hold on. we're going to grab the wire again. We're just going right next to each one of those little loops that we made. Okay, so I'm showing you before I actually make the wire wrap. Okay, I'm going to wrap again. So now you can see we've made this little three leaf design here. Okay, and this guy is all using that small part of your pliers. Okay, now the last little loop that's going to go here on the bottom, I'm going to use the larger part of the pliers to do that. Now, if you don't happen to have the small ball, I'm getting tongue-tied, the small bell making pliers, you can absolutely do this with your round nose pliers. You can start at the smaller end of your pliers, and then for this last larger loop, you can just back up towards the back of your pliers to make that larger loop. Okay, so in order to do this, I like to, this is really a strange angle for me. Let's see, I'm actually going to start over because I didn't particularly like the way that looks. It's hard for me to show this to you guys so far away from me because I can't see what I'm doing. So let's start again, okay? I've got the wire at the end, wrapping to make that little P, okay? Now I'm coming right next to that to wrap again, just like so. Okay, and you can see this is better. This is what we want to show. That wire is running straight down the center, okay? That's much better than how I started, okay? I'm gonna go again. This time, still using that small part of the pliers, okay? And you can see my wires running this direction. Now, in order to keep your pliers out of the way, I'm gonna put this on that loop right there. Okay, so I'm taking the small barrel of the pliers, putting it on that loop. So now when I hold it, the wire's running through, this portion of my pliers is not getting in the way, and I'm gonna wrap around the larger mandrel of the pliers. But I can't go all the way around without taking it all off the tool, which is fine. Okay, I'm gonna reposition just a little bit just to kind of close my loop up some, okay? Now I'm going to take it off and I'll show you guys what we've got so you can see a little bit better. It's kind of hard to see when you got that tool in the way, right? Okay, so now we're going to come in with the cutter tool. And again, it's really, really important. You're using your flush cutter. You want to cut the wire that you want to keep on the flush side of your flush cutter, okay? Because we want this to look seamless. It's obviously not, but from a distance, if you've got this on your ear, we want it to look as seamless as possible. All right, so all that wire that we want to keep, we're going to cut right where that loop meets, just trimming that tail off. Be careful not to cut your center wire. So now this is what we've got, okay? Now you'll notice that if you've got this in your hand, it is not flat. And we want to make it, it's never going to lay completely flat because this is handmade. It would be different if a machine popped this out and it could be seamless and whatever. But this is a handmade component, so it's not going to lay flat. But we can come in with our nylon jaw pliers and very carefully flatten it just a little bit, okay? You don't want to squeeze hard because if you squeeze hard, the crisscrosses of the wire are going to cut into each other and your piece is going to fall apart. But you want to work hard in just a little, okay? I'm just barely squeezing these pliers. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of flattening it out just a little bit, and I'm also adding some strength to it, okay? So then when you're finished, you've got your little component. A 4-leaf connector, says Mimi. Mimi, you are brilliant. That's much better than the doodad. All right, so we have our little 4-leaf connector component here, and it's ready to go. We're just gonna sit this to the side though, because we're not ready to use it just yet, okay? And obviously if you're making a pair of earrings, you're gonna need 2 of those. So if you wanna go ahead and make another little 4-leaf connector guy, then you can. If not, then just keep on going. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the dangles. And the reason we're doing this is because before we close the loops on our large hoop, we want to thread these on. So it's important to get these done before you make the rest of the earring. Now I'm actually going to cut into my strand here and take the beads that I want. I'm going to use this little square guy, and then this little disco ball looking bead, and I'm going to move all these over here to the side. And again, I'm using the tassel. There's 2 of these in that Easter basket design elements mix that I used last week, and that comes in the bundle if you want to get those. So keep that in mind if you're shopping while you're watching. Let's go ahead. I do want to mention I went ahead and added a jump ring to this. There wasn't a jump ring on it. I added a jump ring to it. So this one's ready to go. These 2, we're going to do 2 wrapped loops. So I'm just going to thread these onto a head pin. Okay. And this is a thicker gauged head pin because one of these beads, it's the bigger bead, has got a little bit larger hole than the teeny tiny little head pins that I use all the time, which I should probably get out of the habit of doing, but that is neither here nor there. Now, for those of you who have not made wrapped loops before, this is pretty standard. I'll show it to you here, but if you don't see it really well on camera, you can always Google this. This is a skill that is absolutely necessary when it comes to wire wrapping. I make wrapped loops probably every day of my life. So I'm going to teach it to you here. I'm going to do the best I can to show it to you. Like I said, I've thread the bead on to my head pin, let it go all the way to the end. I'm going to grab that wire right next to the bead with my chain nose pliers. These are not round nose pliers. You can use round nose for this if you want to, but I like that sharp bend that I get when I use my chain nose pliers. I'm going to take the wire, bend it 90 degrees. So when I let go, this is what you've got. You can see you've got a little bit of space here above the bead, and then you've got that sharp bend. Okay. So I'm going to put my chain nose pliers down. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers, and I'm working again away from me. I don't know why. So I'm holding the pliers like this. Okay. Is this a good shot for y'all? Okay, good. All right. So the pliers are running this direction. I'm going to go up and over that top barrel of the pliers, just like so. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to readjust. Okay, so I've just kind of moved this over so that now my wire has got enough room to go all the way around. Okay, just like so. Now you see I've got this nice long tail here, and I'm going to hold on. I'm going to switch hands here. A lot of people do this with their fingers. I feel like I have more control if I use another pair of pliers. It's totally up to you at this point, but we're going to take this wire and wrap it around. And it looks like I've got enough room here to make, I could probably fit a 4th wrap in. Yeah, let's try it. You may only have enough room to fit 3, but I managed to get 4. So there is that guy, and he is ready to go. All right. Now I'm going to come in with my cutter tool. I'm going to trim off that tail and sit him to the side with my little tassel, and he's ready to go. Now we're going to do the exact same thing one more time with another bead, and I'm going to go through it step by step just for those of you all who are new. Ooh, it's hard to see the hole in this bead. All right, so put that on the head pin, and again coming in with those chain nose pliers, I'm going to grab that wire right at the top of that bead, bending 90 degrees, taking that away, and coming in with my round nose pliers to go up and over. All right. Okay. So there's what we got. Now I'm going to switch hands again. Okay. And now I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to make that wrap. And I think I only have room for 3 wraps here, which is fine. When this is hanging on your ear, nobody's gonna know how many wraps you made here. All right, so I only had room for 3 there. I'm gonna come in with my cutter tool, and I'm gonna cut that off. And now the next thing I'm gonna do that I didn't do with the first one that I made, I'm gonna come in with my chain nose pliers and really look at the placement of that wire. Okay, if your loop, not your wire rather, if your loop is in the wrong place, you've got the opportunity to kind of adjust, okay? You can always make adjustments to that. You want to be sure that your tail is tucked in. use your pliers, your chain nose to tuck that in. You want to be sure that everything, look at it straight on and be sure that that loop is going straight up and down. If it's not, you can pinch it and kind of move it around a little bit. You want to do that. These are the little things about your jewelry design that is going to really make a difference between you and the booth next to you. It's just that little attention to detail that makes all the difference in the world, okay? So just keep that in mind as you're going. All right, so I've checked that, made sure that that's hanging, or that's gonna hang straight up and down instead of side to side. Okay, so I've checked all of my loops. Everything looks good. Now, we are ready to make the hoop portion of our earring. And to do this, again, it's gonna be important that you use your flush cutter for this, because when you make your loops, I'll show you in just a second, it's really going to make a huge difference. I've got a section of wire here that's probably, if I had to guess, I'd say that's probably about 8 inches wire, maybe. I'm horrible with guessing, but hey, so maybe I'm wrong. Now, last week I didn't have a mandrel to use. I was just using a little thing of beads that I had on hand. I actually have a good mandrel to use this time around. You can use whatever you've got laying around that's a circle. You just want it to be about 25 millimeters around. So this, before I get ahead of myself, this is 18 gauge. So we've gone up a step. We were using 20 gauge wire on the component, and now we've stepped up to an 18 gauge just because it's a little bit thicker, a little bit sturdier, and this is going to be, you just want to use a more substantial wire for your hoop portion of your earring, okay? So again, 25 millimeters, anything you've got to wrap that wire around to make that nice circle. And I'm going to pinch it tight, okay? Take that off, and you can see what I've got here. Obviously, I had more wire than I needed. And I need to stop for a second and look at some of these comments, because I have not done that. I get going, my mouth just starts flapping, and oh, thank you guys. Neat trick. It is a neat trick. Miss Sarah, she is back. Awesome. All right, you guys, I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me during these little tutorials. All right, so we've got our circle here, and we're going to come in with our flush cutter, and we're just going to cut that in half. Now what happens is we cut off these little tail pieces that we don't need, and now we have a little hoop. Now this is where the flush cutter is coming in important again, because one side of this is flush, obviously, and one side is not. We want them both to be flush so that when we make our little loop here at the top, both of the loops are going to sit nicely. So I am very carefully going to come in with my cutter tool, and I'm just cutting the very tip of that wire. Okay, so now I'm positive that both ends of my wire are flush, okay? Which I know doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but I'm kind of a stickler for everything being the way it should be, I suppose. All right, so this is what we've got. Cut that little section out. It's good to go. You don't want to cut off too much here. Now we're going to come in with our round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab that wire right at the tip. Either side, doesn't matter where you want to start. And I'm making a tiny loop here, okay? This is a really small loop, so I'm down towards the very end of my pliers. I'm going to hold that, and I'm just going to roll that back, making the smallest little loop. Whoops, I think I went too far. Making the smallest little loop here. And I don't know, can you tell me if I'm in the shot? Okay, good. All right, so you can see just made the tiniest little loop. And it wasn't perfect, you guys, because I had it far away from me and I couldn't tell. But there's that guy. Now before we do the next little loop, we're going to thread on our beads. Okay, because if we went ahead and did the loop, then they obviously won't fit on there, right? Okay, so I'm gonna thread on one of those. I'm gonna put the tassel in the middle because he's the longest, and then this little disco ball guy. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead, come in with my round nose pliers, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I did here over here. I'm just gonna grab that wire, the very tip of the pliers, oops, and roll backwards. Oh no! Well, that was a fail. That's okay, because you know what? I've done live TV enough to know you always need a backup. All right, so we're gonna roll this one back. There's that one. Now I'm gonna thread my beads on again, no problems. And this time I'll probably pull it out of the shot so that I can actually see what I'm doing. Ooh, There we go. All right, let's do this again. Grab that wire right at the tip, roll it back. All right, now we've got 2 little loops at the end here, okay? So this is ready to go, and of course these are not gonna fall off or anything. We're good to go. We're gonna sit this down, and we're gonna start building our earring. Before we do that though, we've got one more little bead that got left out. Poor guy, because he's like the star of the show. I can't believe we left him out. Got this really cool white bead with all of this fancy business going on. I love these guys. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna thread him onto an eye pin. I cannot believe we left him out. Thread him on. And this guy, because he's so big, and I don't want to take up a whole lot of room, I'm not going to do a wrapped loop with him. I'm just going to do a simple loop. So to do that, I'm just going to bend this wire 90 degrees just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with my cutter tool. I'm going to trim off, leaving just a little bit, just like so. Oop, trim that off, and I'm going to roll that back, grab that wire, my round nose pliers, and roll back towards the bead to make a nice little loop. And I didn't trim enough off because I'm holding it too far away from myself. There we go. All right. So there's my loop. And again, it's not perfect, you guys, because this is a really strange angle for me. But he's ready to go. So that guy is going to go on the bottom here. And really all we need are some jump rings. And we're going to attach everything together. So these jump rings are the same gold color. They are about a 5mm jump ring. You could use a 4 here or a 6. I had 5s just because I actually made these jump rings, and that was just happens to be the size that they are. It really makes no difference here. Anything bigger than a 6 is going to be way too big. Anything smaller than a 4, and you're going to need your glasses to see what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to take my jump ring. I'm using 2 pairs of pliers, guys. Never, ever roll these back. You can use your fingers if you want to, but don't pull these apart. It's just easier for me to take 2 pairs of pliers and twist open just like so. Okay, so now we're going to start building everything back, or together, not back. All right, so I'm going to thread one of those on here, and then I'm going to thread on one of the side sections of the 4-leaf connector, and I'm going to go ahead and close that jump ring. Okay, now you can see when I lay this down what that's going to look like. Okay, so that larger hole, or that larger loop rather, that needs to be in the bottom of your, coming towards the inside of your loop rather. Okay, I'm going to take another jump ring and I'm going to attach the other side. If I can get my fingers out of the way. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and close that jump ring. Now, one thing you might notice when you do this is, depending, this one looks like it's going to be pretty good, but sometimes the loop portion, the hoop portion of your earring is pulled out like this, and it makes everything look really stiff, and I don't like it to be stiff. I like there to be some movement there. So you can always pinch this and make it more of a teardrop shape than just a straight circle. Okay, but it's up to you. It's your earring. You can do whatever you want to with it. Okay, the last 2 things, we've got to add this last bead and our ear wire, and we are finished. Now, it's a good thing that we did a simple loop here, because we're going to open that loop right back up to thread it on here. Okay. Now the last little thing we've got to do is add our ear wire, and we are finished. Okay. So I'm just going to open that up and slide that onto the very top leaf of our 4-leaf connector. Ta-da! And we are finished. And you have got some great little earrings. And the cool thing about these earrings is that once you learn how to make it one time, you could make these over and over and over again with all your Jessie James beads, because they would look super cool in a bunch of different colors. Did I just put those upside down? I don't know why I do that. For some reason, I think that you guys are facing the other direction and you're not. It's just very confusing. Sorry, my bad. All right, so there you go. Those are our earrings using the Bohemian Spring bead strand. Again, there's the strand that came on. So you could certainly change this up with any of the colors from these beads. And I use the gold color wire, but you could certainly use silver or copper or anything that you wanted to and make a really awesome pair of earrings. And don't forget this little connector guy, just before we come back up to my face, because you guys don't want to see my face. You want to see these cool things we got going on down here. This guy, you can use this for all kinds of things. Could you imagine your wrapped beads in between and using these as connectors between your beads to make a necklace or a bracelet or just a chain? This is one of those little components that is super simple to make, but has an endless amount of ways to use it. You can use this for a 3-strand design, 3 strands going to 1 strand. I mean, really the possibilities are endless, and you can make it in different sizes. You don't have to make it teeny tiny like this. You could use that larger bell making pliers to make those bigger loops and certainly have a bigger component. So just wanted to show that to you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. Let's see. Rita says, so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Marilyn says, can you attach the hoop with the little loops onto the connector? You absolutely can do it that way. You absolutely can do it that way. It may just be a little bit tighter. You could certainly skip the, my train of thought just out the window. You can skip the jump rings if you want to. However, it doesn't, the jump rings just add some movement there. It keeps everything from being so tight and compact. You can do it either way, and play around with it. Different sizes of the loops, or the hoops rather, will make a difference as well. And the bigger your middle component, the less likely you are to need the jump rings as well. So just play around with it. There's a lot of different combinations there, a lot of different ways that it will work. Emily's is very pretty. Thank you, you guys. Mimi says, so boho chic, love them. Thank you, Mimi. Boho chic, that's what I'm going for. Boho is kind of out of my, it's kind of new for me. I do lots of really sparkly, shiny, the more sparkle the better, but boho intrigues me so much. That's why I'm really happy to be hooked up with Jessie James Beads, because I feel like they kind of embody that boho chic style that I absolutely adore and want more of in my life. So I feel like it was this kind of the perfect time for me to meet up with the Jessie James crew and, you know, and be a part of that, so that I can kind of further myself as a designer. So not only am I here for you guys, but this is also a very selfish endeavor for me as well, because I really want to kind of step outside my comfort zone, and I'm looking for more boho chic. So if that's what you guys want to see, let me know, because I'm all about testing all that out and doing that for you guys, because I want more of that, especially this time of year. I don't know what it is, but spring and summer, I feel like boho jewelry is just like where it's at. So let me know if that's not what you guys want. Hey, I'm here for you. I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. Before I go, just an extra reminder. I know I said it once, but I'm going to say it again. The, let's see, Magical Mystery Box. I don't know why I can't keep that straight. The Magical Mystery Box sign up. You've got until the 7th. Don't forget to take advantage of that. $10 off for new subscribers. Check your inbox for that. And, tell me, like I said, what you guys want to see. And I will be here with you guys again next week. Same time, same place. Bye, guys.